I'm Ethan, 17 years old when this all started, born and raised in a small town in Oregon. My family wasn't rich, but we weren't struggling either. My dad passed away when I was 12, heart attack. After that, it was just me, my younger sister Carly, and my mom, Heather. She worked hard as a nurse and often reminded me how she was saving every penny for my future, specifically for college. I was always a good student, honor roll, part-time job at the grocery store, never got into trouble. I wasn't flashy, not the kind of kid who needed constant attention. I just did the work. My cousin Josh, on the other hand, was the opposite. My aunt and uncle had split years ago, and Josh practically grew up in our house. He was loud, athletic, cocky. He got into fights at school, barely passed classes, but somehow always got a free pass because he was going through things. My mom treated him like a second son. At first, I didn't care. I understood that she felt bad for him, but as I got older, I noticed the imbalance. When I asked for new shoes, I was told to wait for a sale. When Josh asked, he got Nikes the next day. I shrugged it off until senior year when everything changed. I got accepted to 3 colleges. Nothing Ivy League, but solid schools. One had even offered partial scholarship. I sat my mom down, showed her everything, and for the first time I saw hesitation in her eyes. She bit her lip and said, "Honey, college is expensive. You might have to take out some loans. Things are tight." My heart dropped. "But you've been saving." She looked away. It wasn't enough. We had some unexpected expenses. I believed her, at first. I got a job at a car wash, tried to figure it out. Then, one afternoon, I overheard a phone call. My mom was talking to my aunt. She said, "Yes, I transferred it last week. Josh is so excited to start the semester. I just hope he appreciates what I've done." My stomach twisted. Josh was a senior too, but he barely graduated. No one talked about him going to college. I knew what I'd heard, but I didn't want to believe it. That night, I asked her point blank, "Did you give my college fund to Josh?" Her face turned stone cold. "Ethan, he needed it more. You're smart. You'll figure it out." That moment burned into my memory. I didn't scream, didn't cry. I just walked away, packed up, and moved into my friend Marcus's garage. His parents were kind enough to let me stay. I deferred college, worked full-time, and eventually saved enough to get a place of my own. I didn't talk to my mom for over 3 years. Josh went to some community college in California, but dropped out a year later. He never even thanked her. And my mom? She never reached out, not even on my birthdays. I built a life from the ground up. I taught myself coding, freelanced, launched an app, and after 2 brutal years, it took off. I wasn't just stable, I was thriving. Bought my own house at 23, drove a Tesla. No loans, no handouts. Then, last Thanksgiving, Carly invited me to dinner. She was older now, about to start college herself. She begged me to come home. Against my better judgment, I did. My mom acted like nothing had happened. Josh was there too, talking about his new business, which was clearly a scam. Midway through dinner, Mom casually asked, "Ethan, we're struggling a little. Any chance you could help out, even just until the end of the year?" I looked her dead in the eye, smiled politely, and said, "Sure, let me think about it." What she didn't know was that I already had a plan, not just to say no, but to show her what I had become, and to make her understand exactly what she gave up the day she chose him over me. After that Thanksgiving dinner, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling of my own damn house, the one I bought at 23 without a penny from her, and all I could think about was her face when she asked for money, like nothing had ever happened, like I owed her something. That was the moment I decided I was done staying quiet. I wasn't going to shout or get angry. I was going to let my success speak so loud it would silence everything else. I knew she'd ask again, so I prepared. I printed out the app's valuation documents, had them neatly folded in my bag the next time I saw her. I knew she wouldn't understand the numbers, but I wanted her to see how big I'd made it. Sure enough, she invited me over 2 weeks later, just a casual dinner. Josh wasn't there. Carly said he'd moved back in with his dad, trying to get his life back together. Mom was all smiles when I walked in, gave me that fake sweet tone she always used when she wanted something. After dessert, she brought it up again.
Ethan, honey, things have been really hard. I was hoping you could maybe loan me a little something, just a few thousand. I pulled out the folder and handed it to her. She looked confused. What's this? Proof, I said calmly, that I'm not the failure you expected me to be. She flipped through the pages and her eyes widened. She didn't understand all the numbers, but she understood enough. You're doing this well? I smiled. I built this from nothing. No help, no college, no mom backing me up. Just me. She blinked, clearly trying to hold her expression steady. That's wonderful, Ethan. I'm proud of you. But I wasn't here for praise. I leaned in and said, Do you even remember what you told me when I found out you gave my college fund to Josh? Her face tightened. That was a long time ago. You said he needed it more and that I'd figure it out. Well, I did, but now you need something from me. So let me give you the same answer. I stood up, gathered my coat. You'll figure it out. She sat there stunned, like no one had ever told her no before. Carly texted me that night. She cried after you left. I just replied, I'm not sorry. Because I wasn't. For once, I wasn't carrying guilt for someone else's choices. Over the next year, my company grew. We secured a major partnership, opened an office in Portland, hired 15 people. I invited Carly to work with us. She was smart, motivated, and most importantly, real with me. But I didn't invite Mom to the ribbon cutting, not even when she found out through Facebook and texted, Wow, I guess I'll hear about your wedding the same way. I didn't reply, because the truth is, she gave my future away. She made a choice. Now I was finally making mine, and she wasn't part of it. But this story doesn't end with her tears or even my success. It ends with what I did next, because what really matters is what you build once the people who doubted you are no longer in control.
After I shut the door on her fake tears and guilt trips, I thought she'd finally back off. I was wrong. A few weeks after the ribbon cutting made local news, I started getting strange comments from people I barely knew. A former high school teacher emailed me to say, It's so nice how you give back to the woman who raised you alone. One of Mom's old friends commented under a LinkedIn post, Your mother always believed in you. You were lucky to have her support. Support? I nearly choked reading it. That woman told me I was wasting my life when I dropped out. She told my little sister not to hang out with me because losers rub off. I tried to ignore it. I told myself, just focus on the company, stay classy. But then Carly showed me a Facebook post Mom wrote. It was a long, passive-aggressive mess that basically painted her as a single mom who sacrificed everything and believed in her son when no one else did. She ended it with a line that made my blood boil. So proud of how far we've come. We. Like she built this with me. That was the last straw. I didn't confront her directly. That's what she wanted. I just posted a public story on my own page. Everything I've done, I did alone. No money, no degrees, no family safety net. Just hard work, cold nights, and rejection. So if anyone claims credit for my success, please know, they weren't there when I needed them. They chose someone else. I didn't tag her. I didn't have to. The comments filled in the blanks. Some people figured it out. Others just sent support. I turned off my phone and focused on my next big project, because while she was busy rewriting the past, I was building my future. But then something happened I didn't expect. Josh called me, and what he told me changed everything. When I saw Josh's name pop up on my phone, I hesitated. I hadn't talked to him in over a year. Last time we spoke, he was still gloating about getting into Georgetown and how Aunt Maggie really came through. But this time, his voice was different, low, hesitant, almost ashamed. He said, Hey man, look, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I think we need to talk. I didn't say much, just told him to say what he came to say. And what came out next hit me like a brick. Turns out, it wasn't just my mom handing over my college fund to Josh because she thought he was smarter. That was only half the story.
Josh told me he knew all along that the money was mine. She told him when he was 16 that I wasn't going anywhere and that it'd be better for the family if she invested in someone who would make the family proud. But it didn't stop there. Apparently, when I applied for a small business grant my senior year, Mom called the local committee and told them I wasn't stable and had a history of dropping out. They rejected me. I never knew why, until now. Josh said he overheard the conversation and kept quiet. At first, because he was scared. Then, because he liked being the favorite. He said, "I was a coward," he said. "I let us pit us against each other." I stayed quiet for a long moment. Then I asked him, "Why now?" He said he'd been seeing a therapist, that he hated how our family turned out, that he had just quit his job because he realized he was miserable. "Everything I built," he said, "was based on your broken wings." I wasn't sure how to respond. Part of me wanted to hang up. Another part, maybe the little kid in me, was grateful someone finally told the truth. And that's when I knew. I had to set the record straight, publicly. Not for revenge, but for peace. Because sometimes peace only comes after the fire.
After that call with Josh, I didn't sleep for days. My mind kept replaying everything. My mother's betrayal, the years I spent thinking I wasn't good enough, the rejections, the silence at the dinner table when I told them about my dreams. All those moments I thought were my fault, but they weren't. And now that the truth had surfaced, I wasn't about to let it sink back into the shadows. I started writing. At first, it was just for me, a letter, a journal entry, just to get it all out. But the words turned into something else. I realized my story could help others. I published an open letter online titled, "How My Mother Stole My Future and Gave It to Someone Else." I didn't name names. I didn't have to. Those who needed to know would know. I detailed everything, from the college fund being redirected to my cousin, to the sabotaged grant, to the years of emotional manipulation dressed up as tough love. The letter went viral within a week. People from all over reached out. Strangers, friends I hadn't heard from in years, even a few family members who said they'd always suspected something wasn't right. And then the calls came. First from my aunt, then from Josh again, and finally from my mother. She left a voicemail, said she was hurt that I would expose the family like that I'd twisted the narrative. But I didn't respond, because I didn't need to. For once, the truth was louder than her voice. And then came the twist I didn't expect. A local nonprofit that helps disadvantaged students reached out. They said my story moved them. They asked me to be a guest speaker. Me, the failure, the one who wasn't going anywhere. I stood on that stage, looked out at a room full of kids who'd been told they were worthless, and I told them what I wish someone had told me, that their worth was never up for debate, that sometimes the people who claim to love you the most can be the ones who clip your wings the hardest, and that success built on survival is still success. Months later, I heard Josh moved out of state. He's doing therapy full-time and trying to figure out who he is without my life holding his up. Mom? She's alone now. Most of the family distanced themselves, not because of my letter, but because they saw who she really was when the mask fell off. I didn't take revenge. I didn't burn down the house. I simply opened the windows and let the world see inside. That was enough. That was everything.